Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, wonderful, beautiful, curious individual you. Today, I would like to speak about the divine wishes us to be curious and wondrous with prudence, carefulness. You can have a balance and not think in either or terms. Of course, there are certain areas that you have to think either or, but in the regards of curiosity, wonder, faith, love, hope, you also do have justice, judgment, courage, prudence. The four, not directly lower virtues, but the virtues that hold you in a certain frame of discipline and awareness, awakeness. As we all know, which is a pretty strange saying really as we should know, the world has a variety of beings and people and situations and experiences, and it is all about how we maneuver in it and react to it based on what is occurring and what we are experiencing and so on. So being careful, but at the same time have a wonder. It's kind of like, don't go into that forest, and then you just do. Hey, what is in that forest? Of course, you do not become impulsive and just walk into the forest, but you get a little closer to it to have a look, just as an example. Because as long as in freedom and with your heart you stay strong to faith, love and hope, no lower beings can touch you. You are the chooser of if you allow them into your being or not. You can train yourself to fully be capable of it. That no lower beings grasp a hold of your emotions or your will or your thinking. Because it is important that you are, in control of your own thoughts, feelings and will. Unless, of course, you just passively are your own, just passive passenger in your own life. Many do that. But when you become spiritually active, that means you become awake, alive, aware and curious, is when you truly start to explore, experience and get to feel the world in its fullness with everything in it, from the lowest to the highest. It's important to have that in awareness and in a certain, not directly structure. That would mean it become rigid, and because the universe is alive and evolving and changing and moving and forming, so it cannot be static. It is not possible. Everything is in movement, including us, our cells, our blood, our breathing, our nervous system. Everything is alive and constantly shaping, changing, forming. And the more curious, wondrous, with faith, love and hope you have, you feed your whole being with these things. So if you sit in optimistic, loving, nurturing thoughts, feelings and will, you will shape with it. It is just like your body eats food, so does your thought, so does your your astral, etheric, physical eat thoughts, emotions and will, in a sense. And we do with emotions, it is your water is in movement, and try to make a whole body of water move. It takes a little time until it settles down again, and of course we can also end up moving the water more based on our own thinking and will and so on. But the more we get to be under the jurisdiction of of the higher beings that helps us master and control our inner, the more we get to truly come into experiencing reality. Now, being an explorer and a scientist and being meticulous and careful at the same time as being uplifting and loving and nurturing is, it's ideal, more or less. It's about being as flexible as you can be with many different faculties, virtues and strengths, that you can tap into when the time is necessary, and not just be one person for the rest of your life. You are one spirit. You are that core. You will always remember yourself as yourself. But what you do, what your interests are, they are constantly changing based on what the divine wants you to be curious and study, so that you can have, what is it called? A variety of areas of expertise and specialization. The more all-rounded we become, the easier it becomes, because we can truly, instead of just focusing on that part of the cosmos, or that part of the cosmos, or this part of the cosmos, you study the whole cosmos with all its parts, all its different variations of beings. If it is the spiritual, if it is the spirits or the spiritual activities, or if it is the soulful, or if it even is just through the senses. But even through the senses, you feel things, you think about things, you also want to do things indeed, and so on and so forth. But to be in awakeness, to take in, absorb, remember, so that you can work upon it later. Your memories are that amazing, and to take up something you have experienced, which you can train to be better at, because if you let your remembering and your memories or your faculties for remembering, if you let it ebb, if you let it die out, it becomes weaker and weaker. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes, because you are actively keeping it alive instead of letting it dry up. And that is where you become better and better at studying over time. Your memories become stronger and stronger until you can remember something 10 years ago that is as clear as day almost. Of course, it takes time, effort, dedication, and it also is about finding why it is important to have a strong memory, and to not let go of memories, to not run away from memories, because that is what they are, memories. They are part of us. They will never disappear, no matter how much we try to distract ourselves. So coming to terms with them, accepting them, building strengths from them, because they are building blocks for our personality. The more you get to enjoy and being wondrous and curious about the world, but careful. Like I said in my last video, spiky shield with a mushy inside. So, and you leave you leave a door open, of course, to those that can meet you with that same mushiness, with that same vulnerability. So we do, and that is how you also keep up your shield of faith. So in the spiritual sense, people can't just come to you willy-nilly either. And neither should you come to them willy-nilly. It's about presentation. How do you choose to come to present yourself to the world? And by holding a certain faith, love, hope, you wish to impress the higher hierarchy too when you come out to the world. So you do not feel, so you do not feel like a scoundrel. You don't feel like you are coming out as first, but and first, It's about that elegance. And also wishing the other person you meet good. That's as a standard practice. Of course, if they meet you with the opposite, then you will quickly feel so. That is the carefulness that comes in, right? And that is what we cultivate. And the curiosity, the wonder, the sense for studying. I promise you that the highest, that the Godhead wishes us to explore everything about Him. He is everything. But He is not. If we stop at everything is the Godhead, what are you going to do with that? We need to come deeper and deeper until from the first to the second to the third hierarchy, down to human beings, everything is still the Godhead. It is the children of the Godhead, the creation of the Godhead. So, how curious are we about finding out both from the Maya, from the physical material, to the inner spiritual, to the outer spiritual, to any area you might consider studying. not only that, but when you do study a variety and a whole plethora of areas to master and to become acquainted with and to understand, you have many ways you can present yourself from day to day. And that is the fun and flexibility of being a human being. We are so amazingly malleable. But you as the spirit, as your spirit, as an individual personality, are still your core, your same. You don't lose that. But around your core, your spiritual, you change your interest, you change your habits, you change your focus and intention every day, day to day. So that you keep yourself in a specific movement with carefulness, so that you do not let yourself go into an abyss that, into an erring away from the path you have been choosing. So you see, there are a lot of one needs to be a little careful at the same time, and not falling for the temptation that might present themselves, shortcuts and so on. No. What's it called? Slow and steady wins the race? Yes. It is about, since you are steady and sturdy and take the time, you absorb it and it becomes fully part of you, instead of just zup, 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 zup. You never get to work on it, you see. But once you have studied something, you take it in, you reflect on it, you transform and feel until it becomes part of you, your understanding, your comprehension, and so on. That is why slow and steady brings far better and deeper results than being fast and in a hurry, obviously. Plus, when you're fast and in a hurry, it's a huge chance to make mistakes that could have been avoided with a little carefulness. And we are not meant, it is that perfect in the middle. We are careful, but curious. So, may Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, Michael, higher hierarchy, angel masters of old, ancestors from every incarnation, the Godhead, seraphim, cherubim, thrones, kyriadities, dynamis, exousiae, archai, archangeloi, angeloi, alle mennesker, and may you be protected, guided, blessed, and loved. And may you have a nice weekend. I love you so much, my beautiful, beautiful sibling. Thank you. Love you. Goodbye.